Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BDGE Media. I am your Dynasty host, Shoop, and today I am going to speak on the top marriages among NFL teams and running backs for this upcoming year's draft and how it could potentially impact your fantasy roster coming later this year. So, as we know, running backs are the most scarce position, and each year it seems like more and more running backs just die off, just go out into the wilderness and never come back again. But we got a fresh new crop of running backs coming in to the stratosphere of the NFL. Let's take a look at some teams that may be looking for a running back and what running back in the draft could possibly fit that team and at what pick. No time to waste. Let's jump into it. Okay, so the first team that needs a running back really badly is the Houston Texans. And if you played fantasy last year and you owned a Texans running back, you most likely did not have a good time. You had guys like David Johnson, who the Texans front office wasted a pick on, and then you have Rex Burkhead, Mark Ingram for a little bit, then Royce Freeman came in. It's like, where are they picking up these guys? Like Madden 18? Anyway, they have way too many overhill guys, and this whole team is just devoid of talent, and they need talent across the board. They're pretty decent at receiver, not great. They could use another, but running back is definitely a big hole, especially because they have no talented young guys there. Who would be a great fit? Well, my top running back off the board is Brian Robinson from Alabama. Brian Robinson sat behind Najee Harris and Josh Jacobs for a couple years. Learned from two already well-groomed running backs. We saw how good Najee was as a bell cow last year, and we saw how in control Jacobs is of the Raiders' backfield. And then, of course, Robinson is a different player, but very similar skill set, downhill runner, great speed, ability to be a three-down guy, and he's not quite the first-round guy, so I think that the Texans can definitely land him at the top of the second or trade up if they really like him, but they need to be able to score points. And if they're believing in Davis Mills, then they're going to have to help him out with some offensive talent. And I think Robinson's a great fit there. Second team on the list that really needs a running back are the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, well, they got Chris Carson. His neck broke. Rashad Penny, he's always broke. Maybe not money-wise yet, but he's always injured. And he had a dominant end to the second half last year. He had some really good games and really showcased the kind of first-round pick he could be. But he's also a free agent. Are the Seahawks really going to pay money to this guy after he was so unreliable for so long? I think Penny could be a great fit on another team who's willing to put up the risk on maybe a one-year deal. But I don't think the Seahawks will sign him, and beyond the injured Chris Carson, they don't have much left. So they're going to need a bell cow kind of guy, and I think Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M could be a good fit. Spiller's not the fastest guy in the world, but neither is Penny. Both of them are big running backs and can handle load. If the Seahawks have any chance of keeping Russell Wilson around this offseason, then they're going to have to show that they want to win now. And we saw that the Seahawks love to run the ball. And they really don't have, they have the talent, but they just don't have the guys available. Spiller would be a great pick. He had a fantastic year. He can definitely handle all three downs if needed. If not, they can have a guy like a DJ Dallas or Travis Homer split in and be very cheap. But this is a good way if the Seahawks want to get some free agents that at other positions to entice Russell Wilson to stay, then Spiller could be a great fit. Going on to the next team, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are very barren at running back. They have nobody besides Cordell Patterson, who's really not a running back by trade. Now, credit to the Falcons for finding a good way to use him, but he's not a long-term answer by any means. I mean, he just hit 30 years old anyway, and he's really more of a receiver kick return kind of guy. And even if they do like him as a running back next year, they're going to want to bring in some competition because there are other guys, Mike Davis, Quadre Olison. Mike Davis, big time bust, and he's approaching 30 as well. And then these other guys that the Falcons have are just not that good of players. They need a guy that could really come in and step up and take on that role of mixing in a little bit. I think Zamir White would be a great fit. Well, first of all, he's coming out of Georgia, so you already got that Georgia connection. Falcons love drafting players from the SEC, including Georgia, and right away you can tell he's a good fit. Zamir White didn't get the full bulk of the carries in college, but that was because he was surrounded by so much talent all the time. And the Falcons really don't need a 3-down guy right away in this offense because they're pretty dynamic at receiver. Assuming Ridley comes back, of course, they also have Kyle Pitts, and they'll probably bring back Matt Ryan for another year. Zamir White could be a guy that just takes some attention away from Cordero Patterson in his first year while they try to develop him into more of a 3-down back. So Zamir White, right out of Georgia, great fit with the Falcons. The Falcons need running back help regardless if they're taking a rookie or not this offseason. They need some help somewhere. Next two teams are going to be playoff teams that could use a little more help at running back if they want a chance to win the Super Bowl next year. The Bills absolutely come to mind as a team for this. Devin Singletary, he's nice. He's had some good games down the stretch, but I've always really thought that whenever someone like Singletary or Zach Moss, Matt Breida, whenever they had a good game, it was more so because they benefited from how good the Bills' offense was, not because of any like game-breaking talent they had. And really, that's what the Bills are lacking. I mean, sure, you could blame the defense for losing to the Chiefs, which rightfully so, and they'll probably use a lot of picks on defense. But going forward, you can't rely on this current one-dimensional offense to have any chance of winning the Super Bowl. It's Josh Allen throwing or Josh Allen running. These other guys don't really pose much of a threat. I think a great fit here in the bottom of the third round at pick 89 would be Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State. If you're decently involved in college football, you probably know who Kenneth Walker is. He was a Heisman candidate this year. He played for Michigan State, and he had some amazing games against Michigan for one. That's where he really blew up in the national spotlight. He was a stud runner all year, and he really carried Michigan State in certain games. Why is he valued so low? Well, Kenneth Walker is one of those jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none kind of guys, where he's super talented, but in the NFL, they don't really believe he has the size or the speed to be like a game-breaking kind of guy. But in the right system, he could provide the offense with a big spark. The Bills are definitely in that right system. Good O-line, great offense, great quarterback who's already a threat to run, so that takes pressure off of him. I think expecting Kenneth Walker to come to a team like the Texans and take over would be a bit of a stretch, but having him on the Bills where they have all these weapons already, that Walker could have a more easy transition into the NFL, and then it could pay off big dividends if he finds that stud touch that he had in college. The last team I'm going to go over is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Buccaneers aren't really in free agent hell like they were last year, but they are in free agent hell at the running back position with Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and Giovanni Bernard, all free agents. There's definitely no way to re-signing all of them, and I can almost guarantee they're not going to re-sign Ronald Jones given the lack of playing time that he got all season. And to be fair, it was very deserved. He wasn't very good in those games. Giovanni Bernard didn't have a huge impact, and he's on the older side of the running back spectrum. I don't expect him to get re-signed. Fournette is interesting because Fournette definitely played a big part in that offense, but are they going to give a stud running back big money. That's always a big risk when you can, always draft a guy. They do have Keyshawn Vaughn already, who they drafted in the third round either last year, the year before that. But let's say they do re-sign Fournette. I think they still need a little competition and maybe someone who can fill in Ronald Jones' role, but maybe without the fumbles. I would go with Breece Hall for that. He's out of Iowa State, and he's definitely the bruiser type runner. So they could limit Fournette's carries by giving him more catches and spreading him out a little bit more, and then they could give Breece Hall, mix him in on the goal line, and give him more early down work, fourth quarter work to help wear down these defenses. I'm assuming Brady's going to play next year. There's been hints of him retiring, but it doesn't seem like he's set on it. We'll have to see. There's a lot of rumors out there, but let's say Brady plays again. I'm assuming they're going to rely on him a little bit less at the ripe age of 45 to throw the ball 50 times a game. They're going to need young running backs to take over, and I really think Breece Hall could be that kind of guy. But yeah, this is it. Coming up, we'll see. Coming up, we'll have more content for... Oh, what am I kidding? I'm not even going to edit this part. I don't even know if we're making content for you, Nick, but I hope you liked the video. Yeah, so this is kind of insight I can provide, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and maybe you got something out of it. Anyway, this is Shoop signing out.